It's always important to try to look past your initial thoughts on someone. What Corbin Knew by Jeffrey Hatcher. Well, first, I had to go to the post office to mail that short story I wrote. I'm writing short stories again. So I get there. I'm standing in line, waiting to get to this surly postal clerk, who, when he sees me, says, "Okay, you're next." Which is not what you want to hear from a postal worker. So anyway, I mail the story, and I have to run to catch the bus to Crescent Heights. I had to run to cover a book club lunch in Crescent Heights. It's the new trend. Guilt-ridden middle-class women, they read one book a week, then get together to discuss it. This week's book was Henry James's Portrait of a Lady, and I like Henry James as much as the next person, who doesn't like a sentence without a verb. So I get there, and the house is perfect, and the hostess is gorgeous, and her daughter's all these British names like Prunella, Cressida, and Crudit. Then we meet the rest of the gals, these Butrons with bone structure. You could open a beer bottle with their cheekbones. They've had so much plastic surgery, their mouths meet the back of their necks. And one of them, Dorothy, is obviously so hungover. She's wearing sunglasses inside. Then we sit down for lunch, which is low-fat cottage cheese and iced tea laced with, like, acid and PCP. Then the hostess brings us to the library, which she points out has been organized by subject. I sense there's something fishy when I notice that Death of a Salesman is one of the murder mysteries. Then the hostess gives us background on Henry James, how he was from an important literary family, how he was an expatriate, and how he was a confirmed bachelor. Then we start in on the book. And about 10 minutes into the discussion, the hostess comes out with the following. "I just didn't think Osmond was handsome." And they all nod. And she says, "Isabel's obsession is understandable in its context, but if you'd seen him in that movie where it kept trying to kill Clint Eastwood, and that president, you just knew he was trouble from the get-go." And I realize they're talking about John Malkovich. And I know I should keep my mouth shut, but frankly, I've had a few Thunderbird iced teas myself, and I blurt out, "You didn't read the book, you're talking about the movie." And they stare at me, like a good deer on the rug. And one of them, Dorothy, raises her hand and says, "I didn't see the movie, but I must say, I like the first side much better than the second." She had listened to the audiobook version. So I say, "You can't talk about novels you saw in the movies or heard in the car, and besides which, Henry James was not a confirmed bachelor. He was a closeted queen who had his first sexual encounter with the future Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, Oliver Wendell Holmes, who set him on the homosexual path for life. And besides, and another thing, Dorothy, why do you think they called him the Magnificent Yankee? And another thing, Dorothy, just because you listen to the audiobooks, don't think you're any better than the rest of them. A book is meant to be read. You have to look at it, absorb the typeface. A work of literature is meant for the eyes." And the hostess says, "Dorothy is blind." After that, the discussion kind of petered out. Next week, they're doing Remembrance of Past Things. Audiobooks as a version that erases itself as you listen to it. How was your day?